Tom sat in the grand hall of the Tselari Dominion's diplomatic center, trying not to sweat. It wasn't every day that a simple human diplomat got to represent Earth in one of the biggest first contact meetings in history. Around him, tall, elegant aliens with shimmering blue skin and glowing silver eyes observed him with quiet curiosity. The Tselari were one of the most advanced species in the galaxy. Their technology, wisdom, and power had shaped interstellar politics for centuries. But today, something special was happening. For the first time ever, a formal alliance between humans and Tselari was about to be discussed. Tom adjusted his stiff collar, feeling out of place. Humanity had only joined the galactic community 50 years ago, and Earth was still considered a young species. But he had worked hard for this moment. This was history in the making. At the center of the room, Ambassador Galana, the Tselari's most respected diplomat, stood gracefully. Her long robes shimmered with every movement, and her silver eyes locked onto Tom with an expression he couldn't quite read. "The people of Earth," she said in a calm but commanding voice, "have proven their intelligence, resilience, and honor. Today, we begin a new chapter." Tom smiled, standing up as his cue approached. He had rehearsed this moment 1,000 times. "Bow slightly, speak clearly, and don't embarrass Earth." He took a deep breath. "On behalf of humanity, it is an honor to stand here today. We look forward to." Vel'Ana stepped forward, lifting her hand toward him. Tom blinked. Was this part of the ceremony? She kept her hand raised, looking at him expectantly. Oh, a handshake. That seemed simple enough. Smiling, Tom extended his hand and shook hers firmly, the universal human sign of goodwill. The room went completely silent. The Tselari observers stared in shock. A few gasped. Others whispered hurriedly. Vel'Ana's silver eyes widened, and she took a step back, her glowing skin turning a shade darker. Tom's smile froze. Did I do something wrong?" he asked. Vel'Ana touched her chest, breathing deeply, her expression unreadable. Finally, she spoke, her voice more serious than before. "Human," she said slowly, "do you know what you have just done?" Tom swallowed. Shook your hand." A long pause. Then Vel'Ana sighed, rubbing her temples. "I must speak with you. In private." Immediately, Tom glanced at the other Tselari, who all seemed deeply uncomfortable. His heart pounded. This was not good. As he followed Vel'Ana into a private chamber, he could only think one thing. What did I just do? Tom sat stiffly in the private chamber, his hands folded in his lap. Across from him, Ambassador Vel'Ana paced back and forth, her long robes flowing behind her. The room was silent except for the soft hum of alien technology in the walls. He had no idea what was going on, but from the way Vel'Ana kept rubbing her temples, it was something serious. Finally, she stopped and faced him, her silver eyes locked onto his. "Human," she said, her voice calm but firm. "Do you understand Tselari biology?" Tom blinked. That was not what he expected her to say. Not really," he admitted. "I read the briefing, but it mostly talked about politics and culture, not science stuff." Vel'Ana sighed. "Then I will explain. The Tselari are unlike humans. We do not reproduce in the same way as your species. Our offspring are not created through physical unions." Tom's brain struggled to keep up. "Okay, then how does it happen?" Vel'Ana hesitated. For Tselari, the transfer of genetic material occurs through ceremonial touch. It is a sacred process, one that only happens between two individuals who have chosen to create life together. Tom frowned. "Wait, what does that have to do with?" Then it hit him. His eyes widened. His stomach dropped. No way," he said, shaking his head. "You can't be saying that. That handshake." Vel'Ana exhaled slowly. "Yes." Tom's jaw nearly hit the floor. "I got you. Pregnant." She nodded. He stared. His brain refused to process the words. This was a joke, right? Some weird alien prank. No, no, that doesn't make sense. Tom blurted. I'm human. You're, well, not. Our DNA shouldn't even be compatible. Anna sat down across from him, her expression serious. Your scientists assumed that because humans and Silari evolved separately, reproduction was impossible. But they did not understand that Silari do not follow the same biological rules. Our bodies are designed to adapt. When we initiate the process, we merge genetic structures and create new life. Tom put his hands on his head. But I didn't initiate anything. I just shook your hand. Anna's glowing skin darkened slightly, almost like she was embarrassed. You gripped firmly. That is how the process begins. Tom groaned. You're telling me. I shook your hand too hard, and now I'm a dad. Anna straightened her posture. It is more complicated than that. But in simple terms, yes. Tom collapsed back into his chair. This was insane. He was just a diplomat. He came here to make speeches, not create the first human-alien hybrid in history. Okay, he said, trying to breathe. Okay, let's think about this logically. Maybe there's a way to... Stop it. Anna's expression turned sharp. Absolutely not. The process has already begun. To stop it would be unnatural and unacceptable. Tom gulped. Right. Unacceptable. Got it. A long silence stretched between them. Tom looked at Anna, and for the first time, he noticed something different about her. Her posture, the way she touched her abdomen, the way her silver eyes seemed softer now. This was real. This was really happening. He cleared his throat. So, what now? Anna met his gaze. Now, you must take responsibility. Tom froze. His life had just changed forever. Tom sat in stunned silence, staring at Ambassador Anna. His brain was still struggling to accept what she had just said. He was going to be a father. To an alien baby, with a woman he had just met. All because of a handshake. This can't be real, he muttered. This has to be some kind of misunderstanding. Anna folded her hands in her lap, her silver eyes calm but serious. It is very real, Tom of Earth. Tom ran a hand through his hair. Okay, so let's say I accept this. What does taking responsibility mean? Because back on Earth, that usually means, raising the kid, being involved. Anna nodded. That is exactly what it means. Among the Xilari, both genetic contributors are required to guide the offspring's development. Tom blinked. Wait, required? Yes, she said simply. It is not just a matter of tradition. The child's survival depends on it. A hybrid of our species has never existed before. It will need guidance from both human and Silari parents. Tom groaned and covered his face with his hands. This is insane. I'm a diplomat, not a dad. I don't even own a pet. Anna tilted her head slightly. Are human males not expected to care for their young? Tom dropped his hands. No. Yes. It's complicated. Before Anna could respond, the chamber door slid open with a sharp hiss. A tall Xilari figure, dressed in formal robes, entered the room. His glowing silver eyes flickered between Anna and Tom, his expression unreadable. The council has been informed, he said in a deep voice. They request your presence at once. Anna stood immediately. Of course. She turned to Tom. Come. Tom hesitated. Do I have a choice? Anna gave him a look. Right, coming, Tom muttered. The Xilari High Council chamber. Tom sat at the center of a massive circular hall, surrounded by some of the most powerful aliens in the galaxy. The Xilari High Council consisted of 12 members, each seated on a floating platform, their glowing robes shifting colors in response to their emotions. Right now, most of them were glowing deep purple, which, from what Tom had learned, meant shock and confusion. The leader of the council, an elder named Zorvak, leaned forward, his silver eyes fixed on Velana. "Ambassador," he said, his voice calm but heavy, "we have received your report. Is it true? A human-Xilari hybrid now exists." Velana nodded. "Yes." Murmurs spread through the council chamber. Some of the members whispered urgently to each other, while others simply stared at Tom like he was some kind of strange experiment. Zorvak turned his gaze to Tom. "Human, do you understand the significance of what has happened?" Tom cleared his throat. Kind of." A female council member frowned. "This is unprecedented. Xilari have never reproduced with another species before. We do not even know if such a child can survive." Another council member, an elder with dark blue markings on his skin, spoke in a harsh tone. "This could be a disaster. If the child is unstable, if it cannot control its genetic structure, it could be a danger to both species." Tom swallowed. That was not what he wanted to hear. But before he could panic, Velana stepped forward. "We must not assume the worst," she said firmly. "This child is not a mistake. It is an opportunity." The council chamber fell silent. Velana continued. "For generations, the Xilari have remained separate from other species. We have never allowed our biology to mix with outsiders. But now, fate has given us a chance to evolve, to become something greater." Tom watched as the expressions of the council members shifted. Some still looked uncertain, but others seemed thoughtful. Zorvak exhaled slowly. "This matter must be considered carefully. A decision will be made soon." His glowing eyes locked onto Tom. "Human, do you accept your role in this?" Tom hesitated. Every instinct in his body told him to run. But then he glanced at Velana. Despite everything, she wasn't afraid. She was standing tall, ready to face whatever came next. Tom took a deep breath. "Yeah," he said finally. "I accept." The council members murmured again. Zorvak gave a slow nod. "Then the future of both our species now rests in your hands." Tom gulped. "No pressure, right?" Tom sat in his assigned quarters, staring at the ceiling. His mind was a tangled mess. Just 2 days ago, he had been an ordinary diplomat representing Earth. Now he was about to be a father to the first ever human Xilari hybrid. And the whole galaxy was watching. A soft chime rang from the door. Tom sighed and rubbed his face before calling out, "Come in." The door slid open, and Velana stepped inside. Her glowing silver eyes studied him carefully. "You seem troubled." Tom let out a dry laugh. "Troubled? I'm past troubled. I think I've reached a whole new level of panic." Velana moved closer and sat across from him. "You accepted responsibility before the High Council. If you regret that decision, it is better to say so now." Tom straightened up. "No, I meant what I said. I don't know how to do this." He gestured vaguely. "This whole alien father thing. I barely have my own life figured out." Velana tilted her head. "Are human males not prepared for fatherhood?" "Some are," Tom admitted. "Some plan for it. Some don't. I fall into the second category." He sighed. "I didn't exactly grow up with a role model for this kind of thing." Velana's gaze softened. "Among the Xilari, parenthood is not an individual task. It is a shared responsibility. You are not alone in this, Tom." Tom blinked at her. He hadn't expected reassurance from her. He had assumed she saw this as a duty, nothing more. But now he could see something else in her expression: determination, strength, and maybe even trust. He exhaled slowly. "All right. No backing out now. So, what happens next?" Velana straightened her posture. "The gestation period has already begun." Tom sat up. "Wait. Already?" She nodded. "Xilari offspring develop rapidly. In human time, the child will be born in approximately 6 weeks." Tom choked on air. 6 weeks. Velana gave a slow blink. "Is that Fast by human standards. Yes, that is insanely fast. Tom groaned and ran a hand through his hair. Human pregnancies take about 9 months. We have time to prepare. Read books. Take classes. 6 weeks it's practically tomorrow. Veliana seemed unbothered. The Xilari body is efficient. The child will not be helpless upon birth. It will already possess basic cognitive functions and awareness. Tom rubbed his temples. Right. Of course. Because why would anything about this be normal? Veliana's voice remained calm. The medical team will monitor the child's development. You will be allowed to participate. Tom gave a weak chuckle. Great. Can't wait to see how weird my kid is going to be. Veliana frowned slightly. You believe the child will be strange. Tom hesitated. No, I mean, look, this has never happened before. A human and a Xilari having a kid. Nobody knows what to expect. Veliana studied him for a moment before speaking. Do you fear the child? The question hit Tom harder than he expected. He wasn't afraid of the baby. At least, not in the way Veliana seemed to think. I don't fear the kid, he said slowly. I fear messing up. I fear not being good enough for this. Veliana's gaze softened. A true parent is one who remains, even when uncertain. Tom looked at her. Is that an Xilari saying? She gave a small nod. It is something my own father once told me. Tom absorbed that for a moment before letting out a slow breath. All right, let's do this. Veliana stood. Then we begin immediately. The first medical examination is in 1 hour. Tom groaned. No time to rest, huh? Veliana simply turned toward the door. Parenthood waits for no one. Tom of Earth. As she left, Tom sat back, staring at the ceiling once again. 6 weeks. He was about to become a father. And there was no turning back now. Tom stood in the Xilari Medical Observatory, surrounded by advanced alien technology that hummed softly in the background. The room was filled with glowing blue panels, floating displays, and a strange, pulsing energy in the air. He was trying very hard not to panic. Beside him, Ambassador Veliana lay on an elevated examination platform. She remained calm, her silver eyes focused on the holographic projections above her. Meanwhile, several Xilari doctors, dressed in shimmering white robes, moved around the room, monitoring the progress of what was, apparently, the fastest pregnancy in history. A doctor with dark blue markings on his face turned toward Tom. His glowing eyes scanned him curiously. You appear tense. Tom let out a nervous laugh. Yeah, well, humans don't usually become dads this fast. We like to take our time. The doctor nodded, as if considering this. Perhaps that is why your species has not yet achieved full biological efficiency. Tom opened his mouth, then closed it. He had no idea how to respond to that. Instead, he turned to Veliana. So, what exactly are they looking for? Veliana remained relaxed as she spoke. The doctors are monitoring the child's cellular development. Because this is the first human-Xilari hybrid, we must ensure that the genetic structures are stable. Tom frowned. And what happens if they're not stable? One of the doctors, an elder Xilari with golden markings, spoke without looking up. Then the child will not survive. Tom's stomach dropped. What? Veliana gave the doctor a sharp look before turning back to Tom. Do not be alarmed. The probability of instability is low. Tom ran a hand through his hair. That's not exactly comforting. The doctor with blue markings finally spoke again. The hybrid's genetic code is forming in an unusual way. It is neither fully Xilari nor fully human. Tom raised an eyebrow. Yeah. That's kinda how hybrids work. The doctor ignored his sarcasm. What I mean is, this child is not just a mix of two species. It is adapting. The cells are restructuring at an accelerated rate. It is evolving. Tom glanced at Veliana, who seemed deep in thought. Is that normal? He asked. Veliana exhaled slowly. Nothing about this is normal. Great. Super reassuring. Tom paced back and forth, trying to process everything. So what does that mean for the baby? Are they gonna be okay? The doctor hesitated before speaking. The child is strong, stronger than expected. It is displaying traits from both species, but also something new. Tom stopped pacing. Something new. Like what? The doctor tapped on a glowing screen. We are detecting a unique energy signature. The child's body is generating bioelectric pulses at a frequency we have never seen before. Anna sat up slightly. Bioelectric pulses, like auxiliary's neural link. The doctor nodded. Yes, but amplified. Tom squinted. Okay, can someone explain that in human terms? Anna turned to him. Auxiliary communicate through neural energy. It is how we connect our minds during diplomacy and decision-making. But this child, it appears to be producing an energy signature stronger than any recorded auxiliary. Tom stared at her. So what you're saying is, our kid has superpowers? Anna hesitated before answering. Perhaps not in the way you imagine. But it is clear that this child is different. Tom let out a long breath. Of course, because nothing about this could be simple. The doctor with golden markings stepped forward. The child will need close monitoring. We do not yet know how these abilities will manifest. Tom sighed. Yeah, well, neither do I. He turned to Anna. Looks like we're not just raising a hybrid. We're raising the first of its kind. Anna met his gaze. Then we must be ready. Tom took a deep breath. Fatherhood was already scary. But now he wasn't just raising a kid. He was raising a miracle. Tom sat in his assigned quarters, staring at the holographic reports floating in front of him. The medical updates on the baby had been coming in nonstop, and each one made him feel more overwhelmed. Anna's pregnancy was progressing at an unnatural speed. Just a few days ago, the doctors had detected the hybrid's first bioelectric pulses. Now they were reporting rapid neural development and advanced cellular adaptation. Tom rubbed his temples. I need a manual for this, he muttered. A how to raise a half-alien superbaby guide. A chime rang from the door. Come in, he called. The door slid open, and Anna stepped inside. She moved gracefully, her glowing silver eyes calm, but Tom could tell something was different. Her usual composed posture seemed heavier. Hey, Tom said, noticing how she pressed a hand against her stomach. You okay? Anna nodded slowly. The child is growing, faster than expected. Tom sat up straighter. Faster. It's already growing at light speed. Anna exhaled. Auxiliary pregnancies are unique. The child does not simply develop. It absorbs knowledge, energy, and adapts to its environment before birth. Tom frowned. So, you're saying the baby is already learning? Anna gave a slow nod. In a way, yes. Tom blinked. That's kind of incredible. Anna placed a hand on her abdomen. It is also exhausting. The child's energy is affecting my own. It is strong. Tom stood up, concern flashing in his eyes. Wait, is that bad? Are you okay? Before Anna could answer, she suddenly winced. Her posture tensed, and she gripped the edge of the nearby table. Tom's heart leaped. Anna, what's wrong? She closed her eyes, inhaling deeply. The child is moving. Tom froze. Moving. Anna nodded. I can feel its energy shifting. Tom stared at her stomach. So, like a kick. Anna tilted her head. A kick. Tom chuckled. Yeah, human babies move around inside the mother's womb. They kick when they're active. Anna exhaled slowly. Then yes, it appears your human traits are influencing the child. Tom couldn't help but smile. That's amazing. Our kid's first movement. Anna gave him a curious look. You seem happy about this. Tom shrugged. Of course I am. It makes everything feel real. He hesitated. I mean, I know this whole thing is real, but it's been happening so fast. I guess I didn't have time to, process it. But now it's not just medical reports or weird energy readings. It's a life. Our life. Anna watched him carefully. Humans value emotional connections to offspring before birth. Tom nodded. Yeah, a lot of parents talk to the baby, play music, even read stories. Anna considered this. Perhaps I should try. Tom grinned. Go for it. She placed both hands on her abdomen, closed her eyes, and in a soft voice, she whispered, I am here. For a moment, there was silence. Then, a pulse. A soft hum filled the room. The air tingled with energy. Tom felt a strange warmth spread through his chest, like an invisible current passing between them. Anna slowly opened her eyes. It responded. Tom exhaled. Whoa. Anna gave a small smile. It knows us. Tom's heart pounded. He took a step closer and, hesitating for only a second, placed his hand over Anna's stomach. There was another gentle pulse. Warm, electric, alive. Tom let out a shaky breath. Hey, kid, he whispered. I guess this is our first conversation, huh? Anna watched him, something unreadable in her gaze. It recognizes your presence. Tom swallowed the lump in his throat. This was real. This was happening. He was going to be a dad. And for the first time, he wasn't afraid. Tom sat across from Anna in the medical observatory, watching as the auxiliary doctors examined the latest holographic scans of the baby. The room was dimly lit, with floating blue symbols and soft humming from the equipment surrounding them. The past few days had been a blur. The child's development was moving even faster than before. The doctors had already confirmed that the baby's cognitive functions were active, far more advanced than expected. Let me get this straight, Tom said, rubbing his temples. The baby isn't just growing fast, it's already learning. One of the auxiliary doctors, the elder with golden markings, turned to face him. Correct. The neural activity indicates rapid comprehension. The child is absorbing information through both genetic memory and external stimuli. Tom blinked. Wait, genetic memory. You mean it remembers things from us? The doctor nodded. In a way. It is forming connections based on your experiences, though the extent of this ability is unknown. Tom leaned back. Great. So my kid might already know how to do my taxes. Anna, who had remained calm throughout the examination, finally spoke. The child is responding to more than just memory. Tom turned to her. What do you mean? Anna placed a hand on her stomach. It has started communicating. Tom froze. Come again. The room fell silent. Even the doctors seemed to pause, their glowing eyes focused on Anna. She exhaled. Last night, while I rested, I heard a voice. Faint, but clear. It was speaking in emotions, in thoughts. Tom felt a chill run down his spine. And you're sure it was the baby? Anna nodded. Yes, the auxiliary have always been connected through neural energy, but this child, it is different. It does not just receive thoughts, it sends them. One of the doctors turned to the floating display, adjusting the glowing panels. Fascinating. If this is true, the hybrid may possess a form of telepathic communication stronger than any known species. Tom's mouth went dry. So, you're telling me, my kid is talking before it's even born. Anna met his gaze, not with words, but with feeling. Tom tried to process this. Okay. So, what did it say? Anna hesitated. Then, softly, she said, it called out for you. Tom's breath caught in his throat. What? Anna's expression remained calm, but there was something gentle in her gaze. It reached for me first. But then, it reached for you. Tom swallowed. What did it feel like? Anna closed her eyes, as if remembering. It was warm, curious. It did not understand words, but it understood us. It knew you. Tom couldn't speak. His heart was pounding in his chest. This wasn't just some abstract concept anymore. This wasn't just science or genetics. This was his child, and it already knew him. One of the doctors finally spoke. We must conduct further tests. If the hybrid's abilities are this advanced before birth, we must understand how it will continue to evolve. Tom barely heard him. His thoughts were racing. He looked at Anna. Do you think I could try talking to it? Anna studied him, then slowly nodded. Perhaps. Tom took a deep breath. Then, hesitantly, he reached forward and placed a hand on her stomach. The moment he touched her, a strange warmth spread through his fingertips. His mind felt light, like a gentle current was flowing through him. Then, a presence, a flicker of emotion, curiosity, recognition, connection. Tom's eyes widened. I can feel it. Anna gave a small nod. Yes. Tom swallowed hard, his voice barely a whisper. Hey, kid. It's me. For a moment, there was silence. Then, a pulse. A soft, invisible spark of energy, like a quiet laugh. Tom let out a shaky breath. His child had heard him, and for the first time in his life, he understood exactly what being a father meant. Tom sat in the medical observatory, his hands gripping the edge of his chair. The room was quiet except for the gentle hum of the auxiliary technology surrounding him. Anna lay on the examination platform, her silver eyes closed, her breathing steady. The soft glow of the medical monitors flickered around her, displaying information about the child's development. But something was different today. The air felt heavier, almost electric. The doctors moved around with a sense of urgency, exchanging unreadable glances. Even though no one had said it yet, Tom could feel it. Something was changing. One of the doctors, the elder with golden markings, turned toward him. The child's energy patterns have shifted. Tom frowned. What does that mean? Anna slowly opened her eyes. It means the child is no longer just learning. Tom's pulse quickened. Then what is it doing? Anna sat up carefully. It is waking up. Tom blinked. I'm sorry. What? The doctor adjusted the glowing display, showing a series of strange pulse waves. The hybrid is no longer passively absorbing information. It is becoming aware. Tom felt his mouth go dry. You mean it wasn't aware before? Anna placed a hand on her stomach. Not in the way you think. Until now, it was reacting, responding to stimuli, adapting. But now, she exhaled slowly. Now, it is thinking for itself. Tom stood up. Wait. Hold on. You're telling me that my unborn child is already forming thoughts. The elder doctor nodded. Yes, and it is reaching out again. Before Tom could even process that, he felt it. A strange pressure in his mind. Not painful, just there, like a whisper at the edge of his thoughts. Tom inhaled sharply. It's happening again. Anna closed her eyes. Yes, I can feel it too. The doctor stepped back, watching carefully. The room seemed to hum with unseen energy. Then, a pulse. Warmth spread through Tom's chest, stronger than before. A presence brushed against his mind. Curious, searching, familiar. It was the child. Anna gasped softly. It recognizes us. Tom swallowed. It feels stronger. Anna nodded. It is stronger. For a moment, Tom just stood there, letting the feeling wash over him. It was unlike anything he had ever experienced. It wasn't like talking. It wasn't even like thinking. It was connection. The child didn't use words, but Tom could still understand. There was warmth, recognition, a deep sense of knowing. Then something changed. The warmth sharpened, turning into something else. Something urgent. A flash of emotion filled Tom's mind. Not fear, not pain, but urgency. Awareness. Purpose. Tom gasped. It wants something. Anna's eyes widened. Yes, it is trying to communicate. Tom focused. What is it trying to say? The pulse of energy grew stronger. And suddenly, Tom understood. The child was ready. Tom's eyes snapped to Anna. It's coming. The doctors sprang into action. Screens flickered, data streams shifted, and the room filled with movement. Anna took a deep breath, her body tensing. It is time. Tom felt his heart pound. He had known this moment was coming, but now that it was here, it felt unreal. He reached out, gripping Anna's hand without thinking. We've got this, he said, his voice steady. Anna squeezed his hand back. Yes. As the doctors worked around them, the pulse of energy filled the air, strong, bright, and alive. The hybrid was ready to be born. The medical observatory hummed with energy. Tom stood beside Anna, gripping her hand tightly as Sci-Fi doctors moved around them in swift, graceful motions. The glowing monitors above displayed rapid pulses of bioelectric energy, fluctuating in complex patterns. The child was coming. Now. Tom's heart pounded. Okay. He muttered to himself. I can handle this. I can handle this. Anna turned her silver eyes to him, her expression calm but focused. You do not need to be afraid. Tom let out a nervous laugh. Oh, I'm definitely afraid. A soft chime echoed through the room as one of the doctors, the elder with golden markings, stepped forward. A hybrid's energy is stabilizing. The birth process has begun. Anna closed her eyes, inhaling deeply. A faint glow shimmered around her skin, her body naturally adjusting to the waves of energy radiating from within. Tom watched in awe and terror as the room itself seemed to react. Small floating particles of light flickered in the air, vibrating with an unseen force. The baby's presence was everywhere. Then, a pulse. Not just a gentle flicker of energy this time. A wave. The air shifted, almost like the whole room had taken a deep breath. The floating displays flickered, and even the doctors paused for half a second. Tom felt it too. A warmth, a sensation deep in his mind. The child was no longer just waiting. It was awake. Anna exhaled sharply, gripping Tom's hand tighter. It is here. Tom swallowed hard. Yeah, I can tell. The doctors moved quickly, adjusting panels, monitoring the energy flow. Then, in one final, silent moment, the air became still. A soft glow surrounded Anna, radiating outward. And then, a cry. Not just a sound, but a pulse. A wave of pure emotion filled the room. Not sadness, not pain. Life. Tom's breath caught in his throat. He looked down, his vision blurring slightly as the doctors carefully lifted the tiny glowing figure into their arms. The hybrid child. It was small, wrapped in a soft energy field, its delicate skin shimmering with a faint light. Tiny hands moved instinctively, reaching into the air, as if feeling the world for the first time. Anna let out a slow, exhausted breath, but her eyes shone as she gazed at their child. The doctors carefully brought the baby closer, the golden-marked elder looking at Tom. It seeks its parents. Tom hesitated for only a second before reaching out. The moment his hands touched the child, a gentle warmth spread through his entire being. A soft pulse of energy. And then, a voice. Not words, not sound, but a feeling. You are here. I know you. Tom froze. His child recognized him. Anna reached forward, placing her hand over Tom's. The warmth grew, a gentle wave of connection passing between the three of them. For a moment, nothing else existed. Just them. Tom took a shaky breath. Hey, kid, he whispered, his voice barely audible. Welcome to the world. The child let out a tiny, curious sound, a soft hum, like a spark of energy forming into something more. Well, Anna smiled. It is perfect. Tom looked at her, then at their child. He had spent so much time being confused, overwhelmed, even scared. But now, all he felt was love. A new kind of love, one that was deeper than words, stronger than fear. His child's eyes slowly opened, bright, glowing silver, just like Velana's. But deep inside them, Tom saw something else, something human. And in that moment he knew, this child wasn't just the first of its kind. It was the start of something greater, something that would change the universe forever.